So this woman made a post, and in it she said that she is a mixed white passing woman, right? And she makes the joke, of course I have a white mother. Now, she's referencing the fact that a lot of times people try to differentiate between biracials who have a white mother versus biracials who have a black mother, right? And I've mentioned in the past, I don't like these jokes because, first of all, none of y'all are black, right? But then it also comes to the point where it's like you all are guilty of giving biracials conditional invites into blackness, right? So you all will tell biracials, oh, if this parent is black versus that parent, then yeah, you're black. Or you'll tell biracials, oh, if you date black people and not white people, then you're black. But if you date white people, then you're not black, right? And it's like, how do you get a conditional like award of blackness? That doesn't make sense. So if I do this thing, I'm black, but if I don't, I'm not black. That makes no sense, because my thing is, I mean, look at me, right? It don't matter who I date or what I do or XYZ, I'm still black. There's no question. There's no, oh, if you do this, then okay, here's some blackness. But if you don't, then I'm taking it away, right? So again, I've said I don't like these jokes about, oh, biracials with black mothers versus white mothers, but that's not even the point of this video. Let me get to the actual point, right? So then she posts a picture of her parents, okay? Now I'm gonna show y'all the picture that she posted of her parents, okay? So look at her mother and look at her father and go ahead and come to your own conclusions as I have done myself. Now, I don't know what she claims to be mixed with because she did not specify it in the caption or anything like that, right? I don't know if she claims that she's half black and half white, or maybe she claims that she's half like Latina and half white or something, you know, because a lot of times people mix Latina up with the race. They don't realize that you can be a white Latina or a black Latina or a mixed Latina, right? I don't know what she claims she is, but looking at her dad, I can tell that he's about half white, okay? Now, maybe he's half white and half black, I don't know. Or maybe he's like a mestizo, sorry, I used the wrong ending, Hispanic, right? But my point is though, again, looking at him, you can easily tell that he has a considerable amount of whiteness himself, right? And that's the parent that she claims is the non-white one, okay? So we have a white parent combining with a half-white parent, and the child is claiming that it is anything other than white. Like, can we be honest with ourselves here? Let's get to what the actual issue is, right? Now, if this is not your first time watching a YouTube video that I have posted, then you may have heard me talking about how blackness is being rewritten. Like, for example, I talk about this often enough, right? I'm Black American, African American, whatever you want to call us, right? Same thing, okay? And that means that I'm descended from transatlantic slavery in the United States of America, right? And I get a lot of comments on YouTube, right, of people saying that Black Americans have a diverse phenotype, right? So anytime I make a video saying that somebody like this woman is clearly white, people will comment and say, oh, Black Americans have a diverse phenotype. That's a Black American woman, right? I kid you not. I'm not even joking or embellishing with that, right? And it's peculiar because they'll leave these comments in regards to somebody who is clearly half white or pretty much white completely, right? Like this woman, because she a good 75, 80, 90% white, right? They'll leave these comments under people like her, but then they will accuse me of being too black to be Black American, right? So they say, oh, well, you look Nigerian, or oh, you look some sort of African. I think you actually an immigrant. Black Americans don't look like you, XYZ, right? So then it raises the question of, okay, the Black American phenotype is diverse when it's a non-black person, right? So when it's somebody who's 80% white, then y'all talking about, yeah, that's a Black American because our phenotypes are so diverse, right? But when it's somebody who is actually black, clearly, then it's, oh no, you're too black to be a Black American, right? And the point that I'm making with all of this is, again, there's this issue with the fact that actual blackness is being erased. Now, people are going to be in the comments, as always, who made you CEO of the blacks? I made myself CEO of the blacks. Clearly, somebody had to step up. Therefore, I did it. So here we are, right? So people are going to be like, oh, who are you to tell somebody if they're black or not? I'm a black person. like for some reason, a lot of people have this idea that black people don't get a say in anything. Everybody else gets to decide everything for us, right? Because whenever I make a video like this and I say that somebody who is not black is not black, people will be like, oh, you don't have that right. But anybody else in the world can make their own boundaries and definitions as they pertain to themselves, right? So a white person can look at somebody like her daddy and say, oh, that's not a white person. And everybody be like, okay, well, duh, because we all know the boundaries of whiteness, right? But then when I look at her father and say, well, that's not a black person, suddenly, well, blackness looks like everything, so, yada, yada, yada. There's this very serious issue with the fact that blackness is treated like the throwaway race. Basically, any stray dog who has a drop of black in them, and because of that, they're put down by their own community. They get thrown into the black community due to their own community's, extreme anti-blackness. This is the reality. Blackness looks a particular way. That is the truth, okay? And that has been watered down by the fact that for generations and generations, people have called mixed people black, right? So if a black person and a white person, or a black person and an Asian person, or a black person and a whoever, right, have a child, well, their community is so anti-black that they never embrace that child as XYZ. So instead they say, oh no, you just have to be black. And black people are so self-hating that they're totally enamored with non-black groups. So they'll say, oh wow, we're happy to embrace you, right? So again, because of that, there's been this watering down of what actual blackness looks like. There's been this rewriting of blackness. Now, I make videos on YouTube all the time about how biracials are attempting to rewrite blackness. Like, it'll be somebody who was clearly half white talking about, oh, like, you think you're blacker than me just because you have two black parents? Absolutely. Like, what? Like, yes, I'm absolutely blacker than you. You have a white parent. You have an Asian parent. Yes, I'm blacker than, like, what, right? So I make videos about how biracials attempt to rewrite blackness, but I have to start calling the fact that non-black people are attempting to rewrite biracialness out as well. Because this is a whole white woman talking about she's mixed, right? She's attempting to colonize the mixed identity, which leaves mixed people with nothing. So in turn, they have to colonize the black identity. It's all just a snowball effect. This is going to ruffle some people's feathers, but the reality of the fact is that blackness looks like me. And it's really not as diverse as y'all be trying to claim that it is. It's really not at all, okay? And this is the sad part. It's not just going to be non-black people whose feathers are being ruffled by this statement. Now, don't get me wrong, they will be included in this because they'll be like, oh, yeah, like, how dare that black set a boundary with me, right? But it's not just going to be them. It's going to be black people taking offense to this because this is the reality. This is the reality. Black people claim that these non-black people are black because that's what they wish blackness was. They hate the fact that blackness looks like me. They wish that it looked like non-blackness. Honestly, I'm not surprised because we live in a very anti-black world. It's violently anti-black, a very white supremacist system. So of course, a lot of black people are going to end up with inferiority complexes and hating everything about them that makes them black, right? So in order to cope with that, they tell themselves that blackness is not actually what it is. Instead, it can be blonde hair and blue eyes because those are the things they've been told is beautiful, right? Honestly, it's sad, but what can you expect?